Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. Guys, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build an insect screen for a window. Now, I would say that this is a very simple job. If you want experience with DIY, this is definitely something you can do on your own. It's a small investment, so if you make a mistake, it's not going to break the bank. Now guys, there's a couple things that we need to keep in mind here. If the screen is too big, it's not going to fit, and if it's too small, either it's not going to catch on the clips, or you're going to allow insects to get around the screen. But guys, what I'll do now is I will show you how to measure for a screen for a window, and then we'll do material and tools. Alright guys, so to measure our window, what we're going to do is we're going to go from the very edge over here and then come across. So we see here it's 23 and 5/8. Well, you can also do is go to 23 and 7/16. Guys, you want to be tight, but you want to be slightly short to make sure that your screen is actually going to fit. If you go too small left to right, then you're just going to give another way for insects to get in. And guys, when we go from top to bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to measure from the very top of your clip here, because the frame is going to sit on the inside here. And then you're going to go to the very top of your clip there. Now in this case, you can see how the clip is flat to the very top of the window. But guys, if your clip is a little bit, if there's a space between the clip and the window, like it is here, you can see how the space is higher. You want to go to the flat section here and not to here, otherwise it's not going to fit. Alright guys, this is our materials list. So we have our screen here. This is just a frame. It also has the corner pieces here. This is our screen. So this is a 36" by 40. This is barely big enough for the frame I'm going to build. So if I make a mistake, then I'm stuck. But I believe in my ability to do this right the first time. And guys, this is our spline. So the spline will fit into this groove here, and that is where the screen is going to be held into the frame. So guys, one other thing here is it shows you for tools needed: a measuring tape and a hacksaw. I highly recommend using a grinder. The thing about a hacksaw is, to get it started, you're going to start to scratch the front of the screen. So if you use a grinder, then you're going to get a nice clean cut. But if all you have is a hacksaw, then go ahead and use a hacksaw. But guys, make sure that you have a metal blade so you get a nice and clean cut. So guys, with that in mind, let's do the tools list. Alright guys, this is our tools list. So I have a grinder, I have a big flathead screwdriver, a measuring tape, knife, file, and for our safety equipment, I have earplugs and glasses. Guys, this is all you need to do this job, so let's get started. Alright guys, to start, so our corner brackets here, one side is a little bit higher than the other. So these will only go on one way. The high side goes on the back of the rail. So if you try to do it this way, it's not going to work. Alright guys, the measurements for the screen I need is 34 and 5/8 from left to right or wide, and then 39 and 3/8 top to bottom or lengthwise. Now guys, something that we need to keep in mind here is the bracket goes on the very end, so you're going to add a little bit extra to here. So guys, our measurement for our corner brackets is 11/16. So for 34 and 5/8, so guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure 34 and 5/8, which is there. And now I'm just going to take the bracket, and then I'm just going to subtract 1/4 of an inch. That way I'm going to have 1/8 of an inch of play on either side. Alright guys, so for our measurements here, that is the very end of the bracket. This here is 34 5/8. And then this line here is where I want the actual screen to end. So when we split this and this down the middle, that's what's going to be the allowance on either side. So you guys can see what this looks like. It's going to look like that. Guys, measure twice, cut once. So for our next one, which is going to be the exact same, really what you can do is just line the two up, make a mark, and then transfer that mark to the front. And guys, once again, once we line these two up, they should be parallel, which they are. Now guys, one thing to be aware of, with your corner brackets, make sure that they bottom out. Don't leave like 1/8 of an inch gap, because that's going to screw you all up. So make sure that you bottom the two out. Now with that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the grinder to cut these two. Guys, as with always, put on safety glasses and earplugs. Alright guys, so with our cut, you can see the little bit of a burst. I'm just going to take a file and I'm going to file it off. You can also use the grinder, but I prefer to use a file because it's more control. Guys, keep in mind that you can very easily get cut. That is why we're going to remove the burr. And then the other thing is, like we see on the inside at the top here, if you don't remove the burr on the inside, which we'll just use the flathead to pull out, you're not going to be able to get your corner pieces in. Alright guys, 34 3/8, we're right where we want to be. So I'll do the same now for this. Alright guys, so for top to bottom, 39 3/8 is our measurement. And make sure you measure right on the corner. Alright, so that's 39 3/8 there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go about 3/16 short, because the clips are in the top and in the bottom. So I want to be close. Alright guys, that's our 3/16 mark, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go 11/8 back. Alright, that looks okay, and we're going to measure one more time just to be sure. That looks alright. Alright, we'll cut it again, and then we'll put the frame together. Alright guys, with this thing put together, we'll really quickly measure. That's alright. That's alright. And guys, like I said, make sure that the thing bottoms out so you're getting an accurate measurement. That's okay. And that's all right. All right, guys, that concludes the cutting part of this. And guys, I almost cut through the wrong section. That's how easy it is to make a mistake. But when I throw this in, I'll make sure that this is at the very top, and no one's going to see it. If you really want to, you could also just block this out with pen. But all right, guys, so that is our screen. As you can see, how it doesn't give you much room for error. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start putting in the spline. So guys, the spline is this, and what you do is you put it in the groove, and that is going to catch the screen. Now guys, because I have so little room for error here, I'm going to have the end of the screen right on the very end of the frame, and then that is going to allow me to have the maximum to work with. Alright guys, so I'm going to start in this bottom corner and then work my way around. And guys, with the flathead, all I'm going to do is just put this screen into place. Now guys, when you're doing your spline, make sure that you're holding the screen tight, and then pull the spline tight as well before you start pushing it into the groove. Because the last thing you want is something kicking out of the groove because you've actually made it too long. Alright guys, so now that we have one side done, what you want to try to do is pull the screen across. Actually, I have an idea here. What I'm going to do is I'll take a little bit of the spline. Alright guys, so for this corner over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the thing tight across. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of spline here, and I'm just going to put it in the corner just to hold the screen in place and put a little bit of tension for when I go all the way around. Guys, what we don't want to see is waviness in the screen. I'm sure there will be a little bit, but we don't want to see a lot of it because then it just doesn't look very good. So guys, once again, let's pull tight. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just get the corner in. And guys, pull this tight so there is no slack in it. Alright guys, now we'll pull our corner out, and then we're going to push it back in. And now we're going to continue with the next side. Alright guys, so we're now at the end. So what we'll do is just cut the end of the spline and then push it in. Alright guys, to fix my mistake here, all I'm going to do is take a black marker and then fill it in. I mean, I'm sure the person won't notice it. But guys, the last thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to go around, I'm going to cut the very excess off, and our screen will be ready for install. Alright guys, so just as a close-up, so all you do is just push the spline in. It's not difficult, and go all the way around. Once again, you need to find the happy medium between too loose and too tight, and that's something that you're going to learn with experience. Alright guys, that is our screen. So now all I need to do is go and install it. So what we'll do now is an overview of this job. Alright, so that concludes this project. I installed the screen. It fit fairly well. I had no issues. Guys, in this video I showed you a simple way to mask a mistake. If you just color it in, then people won't notice it as well if everything is the same color. Another thing that you can also do is, like I said, is mount it towards the top or in an area that you won't have so much traffic, or it's going to be tougher to see. The time on this job, the time was about an hour. I mean, it was straightforward, no problems, nothing came up. The cost of this job, the frame, the screen, and the spline were $50 in total. This was one window. It was relatively simple. You can buy screens in rolls if you need to do more, but in this case I just went as cheap as possible because I don't want any extra material. I'm collecting too much as it is, so I need to start reducing how much I have on hand. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you on your project when you need to go ahead and do that. Guys, until next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.